Welcome back to my podcast that I do every so often. And here we are again. I don't know what episode this is. I completely forget. Yeah, I don't really know how to start. I'm gonna start with some silence. Sound and words originate from silence. Everything originates and stems from the silence. It is in the silence that all creation is formed. The silence is where we come from. The silence is home. But what is silence? Is silence the absence of thought formations? What is emptiness? Silence is silence, emptiness. And what is form? What is form without emptiness? How could form come into creation without the container of emptiness? I've been noticing that I do it myself, but I notice that so often we fill the air with words and with this mind chatter. But why do we feel the need to constantly fill the space? One of the things that I actually value, I shouldn't say value, but I should say treasure the most is silence, being able to be with someone and be silent. And I used to think that this was one of my detriments because there's so many times where I don't have words, I don't know what to say. I don't have a response sometimes to people, and I just don't have words. And I have noticed that to make people feel comfortable, I will just say words, but I don't know why I'm saying them. I'm just trying to give a reaction, I think, so that the other person doesn't feel weird, but it doesn't feel authentic. Like, what's really authentic to me is to be able to, if I don't have a response, not respond and just, there aren't words. And I found it to be more productive to actually be more silent. And not just productive, but also more intuitive. Because there's many things that I can relay to you through my body language or my lack of words. And also something that I wish was more prevalent in the society is softness and being able, like when I'm speaking right now, it feels very easy and very effortless, and I really enjoy talking slower and being able to speak much softer. But it's weird because I feel like I'm always trying, like I'm being a character of myself. Like when I go to work, for example, or when I'm out and I'm around other people, I feel like I'm just being like a more exuberant personality because it is received better. And then like if I sit by myself, or if I want to be kind of more like if everybody's like in a room, I usually kind of sit at my own table. I just sit alone because I don't know, it just feels better. Like it's a little bit more uncomfortable for me to like approach a group of people and try to integrate myself into the group. Like I just feel better if I'm just sitting somewhere alone, or being able to just like relax into my own energy and not feel like I have to talk super loud. And I get upset with myself because I feel like, why am I being this person, and why am I like talking really loudly? I don't like to talk really loudly. I don't know. I wonder if other people go through that too. Like, does anyone else feel like they're like playing a character of themselves? And then when I do be myself, it's like all of a sudden it's weird for people. Like, I feel much more at home in myself and in my body when I can just be silent and just relax and like stare off into the distance and not have to like present myself in a certain way. I don't know. Let's burn some Palo Santo because I'm kind of just rambling right now. Palo Santo. Some Palo Santo. Let's burn some Palo Santo. There we go. Oh, wow. Palo Santo. I remember the first time I smelled it was at my ayahuasca retreat in Peru. first time my nostrils ever were blessed with this beautiful wood. Palo Santo is holy wood. It's very purifying, and it really brings like a holy vibration to spaces. And I was thinking about vibrations. So often in the spiritual community, we're always talking about vibrations, right? But what is a vibration? What is a vibration? It is, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not going to tell you exactly. I could look it up right now if I wanted to. It's not that hard, but like intuitively, what vibration is it's an energy, right? And vibrations are all unique. You can have like a vibration, or you can have like a, like, does that make sense? It's like there's snowflakes, like each vibration is different, and each individual holds like a specific type of vibration. Now, on top of that, plants, they also hold a specific type of energy vibration. And music, of course music. And all these vibrations, like, it's like a symphony, right? It's like a symphony of I think about this is interesting. So I was thinking about essential oils and the vibration of essential oils, because each one has a different type of vibration. And like this one here, oh my goodness, I can smell when things are high vibrational. So you can sense like higher vibrations, and higher vibrations feel much more connected to like the heavenly realms, like more like the demigods, creator, like God, him or herself. And then the lower vibrations, which generally are like kind of bad smells and like dirty type of smells and things, those are like more connected to like the like demonic realms in a way, kind of. At least that's how I sense it. So anyways, you have like, and I can sense like the levels of vibrations with essential oils, and I truly in my heart believe that essential oils can heal people, because I was told, and I believe this, that there are certain types of entities, especially like demonic entities, that have like really bad smells. And it's not a human smell, it's an astral smell. And so astral smell is like that smell when you're walking around. And I don't know if anybody else gets this, but I get this a lot actually. I smell like the astral plane. And you'll be walking around, all of a sudden you're like, what is that strange smell? It's like it reminds me of my grandfather or something. And to me, what that tells me, from my knowledge of shamanism, is that what's happening is you're actually smelling the astral spirit of like your grandfather. Like their spirit is around you, if that makes sense. So, and I actually, in an ayahuasca ceremony, I had this really strange thing happen to me where I died. I mean, you die a lot of the time in ayahuasca ceremonies, but I died, and I went to the realm of where the dead are. And when I was in that realm, I was seeing, okay, like, this is where the dead people are. This is where my grandparents are. Everyone's dead here. And I understood like the wisdom from the dead. And I was thinking, oh my God, like I can tap into like people who have died. And I can sense them. I can like literally communicate with them. And then after that happened, and I think I always had this ability, but I never took it seriously. I realized I had this ability to like astrally smell spirits. And I would just start smelling spirits, and like I can tell what type of spirit it is by like the vibration of its smell. So if it's very high vibrational, this is another cool story. I was smoking my pipe and I was smoking mapacho. And as I'm smoking mapacho, I smelled, or no, I tasted medicine. And all I could describe was like, I taste medicine in my mouth and I'm smoking mapacho. Like there's no way, there's no oil on this, there's nothing. And like, I'm still trying to figure out what that was, but I have this like extra sensory type of thing where I can smell the astral plane. But anyways, what I was coming back to is like certain spirits, they have smells, and like I can sense when they're around because it'll come into my nostrils and I can smell it. And I know it's not coming from the environment. And that was a crazy thing. I don't know what to do with this information though. I'm not quite sure exactly what to do with like, oh, I smell a spirit, but you can smell the bad spirits too. You can smell the bad spirits and they smell bad. But when you smell the good spirits and like the medicine, that's why I'm saying essential oils literally can heal people, because it can like, you can smell it and like the smell will like purify you spiritually. And so like your spiritual body, whether or not you want to believe it's true or not, you have an auric field. You do. And that body is like around here. It's like you have this field all around you. And it's just energy. And so when you have like these type of entities and spirits attached to your field, sometimes like you'll smell, like you won't even be able to smell these spirits because they're just attached to you. And we're kind of getting into like a deeper thing here, which might not make a ton of sense right now. But we are energy configurations. And I also learned this in ceremony too, which is when your words manifest. Your words manifest. So everything you say becomes true. And there's something I learned from the Don Juan books, the Carlos Castaneda books. And he said that the sorcerers know that the eagle, the great spirit, the eagle's command becomes your command. So whatever you speak, whatever you believe, becomes the command and becomes manifest. And it is in that moment. And in any moment, you can just command into being. And you command with, what's the word he uses? Unbending intent. Some of the practical wisdom from the Don Juan books is unbending intent, laser focus, which brings me to another concept here. The concept of the Greek mythological goddess Artemis. I was reading a book today about sacred sexuality. This is all going to tie together. Trust me, just follow me on this. It was a book on sacred sexuality. And I've always felt very connected to goddess Diana, Artemis. She is, she's in the Greek pantheon, one of the most important goddesses. And there's a lot of stories about Artemis, but basically her energy is that she's this archetype of the huntress. So she is depicted with a bow and an arrow and a stag, a deer. And she, like, her energy is like laser focused because she has the bow and the arrow. And she's very independent, very strong-willed, beholden to no man. She is one of the virgin goddesses, so she is not interested in relationships and love. And there's a story about another hunter, Octaeon, I think it's called. I'm reading this off right now because I was wanting to give the correct story. So he spied upon the goddess as she was bathing with her nymphs at a spring. Angered, she transformed him into a stag and had him torn apart by his own hounds. And in the book, I've heard this story before of this other hunter that, saw her. She was bathing naked, and Artemis saw what he was doing, and the story goes a little bit deeper. So apparently he tried to engage with her sexually, and she ended up turning him into a stag and got devoured by dogs. And in the book it was saying, and I've always heard of that story, and I was like, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, nah. And in the book, it was saying she turned him into a stag because a stag represents like horniness or something like that. I'm not sure exactly where they got that one from, but basically this man was not respecting her and did not choose to see her divinity and see the beauty in the grace in which this gorgeous goddess was bathing. And instead of bowing to her, bowing to the divinity that was right before his eyes, instead of honoring that, he decided to make sexual advances. And because of that, she was furious and angered and ended up having him eaten alive by dogs. And so she's a very fierce goddess. But the story is quite interesting because you see this so often, and I embody a lot of that archetype because this is like totally something I would do too. Be like, you dumb boy, I'm gonna turn you into a deer and you're gonna be eaten alive. I'm not that cruel, but sometimes people deserve what's coming to them, right? But anyway, so in that book, in that story, you see a lot of this happening in like everyday life where men will like see this gorgeous woman. They'll see this woman and they'll just want to, they will be drawn to her. And deeply, and I looked within myself, I was like, what does this mean? What does this story mean? And to me, my intuition tells me yes, this is why I'm so frustrated with men, because so often men will approach women, and they approach me too sometimes, and they'll want something from you, right? And they will approach with the intention of, trying to, I don't need to say it. And really, like, what I want is for a man to honor me and to see the divinity within first. And yet, it's desire. It's primal desire that draws them near. And that primal desire, that energy, is what attracts and draws men to women. Yet, there needs to be a higher calling to to transcend that primal desire and to see the divinity and to honor the divinity within that beautiful goddess. And imagine if we lived in a society where every man was able to recognize the primal desire but transcend it and to honor the woman first and foremost, and to see that she is a divine manifestation of Shakti, and she's holy. And imagine if we had that, and it's very interesting because me personally, I've kind of gotten to that point where I don't see a relationship happening in my life, because anytime a man comes my way, it's from a primal desire, and I know for a fact that he's not seeing the divinity and honoring the divinity within me, and seeing that I am not just a pretty face or a nice body. I am an extraordinary spirit. And if you do not see my spirit and you do not honor my spirit, you will never be able to get close to me. And I will know, because I will feel it in my heart, without a shadow of a doubt. And in this day and age, society and the spirit of mankind has devolved. The spirit, the human spirit, is disintegrating, and the divinity is disappearing. And so, for someone like me, that I honor myself and I value myself so much, yet at the same time, I do live in this human existence, in this human world, and having that masculine counterpart is so beautiful. And it's something I would love to have in my life. But how could I have that when all of the men do not understand? And it's quite interesting because the feminine within me, it's not even me, Emily. It's the feminine spirit. It's the Shakti energy. Like that very deep, the universe is masculine and feminine. It is both of those together. And those energies want to come to oneness. They're separated and they live in duality, but they want to come and merge into oneness. And how in the world is a woman like me that understands this going to be able to find a man in this world that gets that? And so for me, I have kind of gotten to this point, and I'm not sure how this video has evolved into me discussing this, but this is the flow, and I go with the flow, and this is what it is. But how is a woman who understands these very deep spiritual understandings, going to be like, how would I be able to find that? Because we've gotten to this point where we've lost our connection with spirituality, and there is nothing more important in this entire world than the cultivation of the spirit, because this is a spiritual journey, whether you know it or not. Whether you want to believe it or not, this is a spiritual life for everyone. And there is nothing in the world that will ever be able to fulfill you unless you search within yourself. Oh my goodness, I'm so emotional these days. I've been spending a lot of time alone and coming to understand these things. Death. I've been thinking about death a lot. When I had my last ceremony was a few weeks ago. And I went through a dying process. I'm still amazed that I'm able to hold down a job and literally walk around with people every day, like normal people. And having gone through these things daily, I'll have a ceremony and then I'll be like, okay, gotta go back to work in 3 days. I don't know how I'm even keeping it together, because you literally are like, well, tonight I'm going to die and then I gotta go back to work. Oh, what does that even mean? And it's a little destabilizing, I'm not going to lie. It's a little destabilizing. But I do it. I hold down a job and I don't lose my mind. I do, though. I did start crying the other day. I couldn't make it stop. It was coming out. I had a really intense purge that needed to come out. And so I just did it. But I died, essentially. And I remember laying back, and I was sitting on this couch and I was laying back and I was like, you know what? Just die. Just die. And when I was doing that, I was just laying back and going, just die, just die. I can just relax my body. I relaxed every muscle in my body, every single muscle, and I just went, okay. Okay, I'm gonna die now. Maybe it's metaphorical. It's probably metaphorical. I don't think it's gonna be physical. And to feel what it was like to die. Oh my goodness. It's so... I remember I was just crying. Oh man. I don't know if this might be a little bit blurry, but okay, there we go. I was just crying, and I remember saying something like, death is coming for all of us. Death is coming for all of us. And that's what gives our life meaning. And here I am, dying. In a way, a part of myself is dying. Things are dying. Relationships are dying. Dreams are dying. And what happens when you die? What happens when you let go of everything? I've had a romance, I guess you could say, with death. I've thought about death for so long because I was suicidal for a very long time. And I would always think of my death, and I would think, well, I can choose when I die. And I would just romanticize. What would it be like to be released, to be free from this world where no one understands me, to be free. Because I don't feel free here. Because in the world of spirit, no one sees the spirit here, right? But in the realm of spirit, my spirit is there, it's free. And there's this longing just to go back to where I came from. To remember where I came from. This life is just Emily. This character is temporary. She's never gonna live again after this life. This is a mask. All of it. Oh, wow. And I feel like I don't know when my dying day is going to be. But I will greet my death with open arms. And there is a part of me that, this might sound a little sadistic, but every day I think, well, I'm going to die. One of these days. In life, there is nothing certain except for your death. The one thing you can absolutely count on, for sure, is that you will die. And everyone you love will die. Everything you love will die. Every part of this world is going to disappear. This is just an experience. And what type of experience do you want to have? What do you want to do with your energy? What do you want to focus your energy on? See, I told you this was coming full circle. I knew it. I knew I could pull it together. But, do you want your life force and your spirit to carry on this baggage, karmic debts? It's not worth it, you know? It's like, I always felt like, well, one of these lifetimes, you gotta do it right. You gotta just make your wrongs right. Don't accumulate more wrongs. Just make them right. Just make it right for the sole purpose of just making things right in the world. So I've been thinking a lot about just the world and how I just, there's really not much else I want. Like, I don't really want material things, and I don't even want a social status. And I don't think a relationship is like gonna work. Just not seeing it. And that's okay, it's fine. It's just, you know, there is like that Shakti energy, that once Shiva energy. And I wish I lived in a world deeply in my heart where there was like a human being out there that understood me. Instead of feeling like, why does nobody understand what I understand, you know? But it's another story for another time, I suppose. And I promise I'm not gonna just cry on all these podcasts. I'm so sensitive. I really am. And when I open my heart, I just start crying. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I would much rather be like too much than not enough. And I don't see anything wrong with crying at all. I think crying is fantastic. Crying is like the best part of life, actually. The best type of purge, the best type of like, crying is like, it's so healing. It's so healing. But I've been thinking about dedicating my life to spirituality and like literally becoming a nun or a monk or something, because I just don't really see this whole society thing working out too well for me. I'd like to stay in society, maybe. Maybe. I don't know, though. I kind of like the woods and the forest. we're gonna go back to silence now and enjoy. Something for you guys. See the silence when you just it's 11:11. This is the Blue Lotus. 11:11. Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Lakshmi Vigan Shri Kamala Tarigan Svaha. Lakshmi Vigan Shri Kamala Tarigan Svaha. Stay right there. I'm gonna bring something over to you. I think that's all I got today, guys. I think that's it. That's been an hour of me talking. And we talked about a lot of stuff. I exposed myself a little bit again. I'm a pretty private person, actually. I just do these podcasts because, like, I got stuff to talk about. And maybe you want to listen. Maybe. I think I'm gonna go to Puerto Rico one of these days because I got a friend down there. And if I go down there, I should do a purgative video. Drink some garlic and vomit it up. purgatives are so good for you. You don't understand. It sounds crazy drinking this like concoction that's like, essentially it's a really potent concoction. You gotta like get it out of your body pretty fast, because if it sits there, you're just gonna probably die. So like there was this one purgative they gave us at the course, a garlic purgative. It was like 2 full cloves of garlic blended in a glass of water, and you have to drink it and like let it sink in for like a minute or two, so it can like pull out the energy, pull out like the toxins and stuff. And then you gotta chug water as fast as you possibly can, so you vomit it out. And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, the purgatives work. They work. They clean your body out. They clean them out fast too. Real fast. Pinon Colorado. Best purgative. Best plant. That Pinon Colorado. If I was in Peru right now, baby, I would go buy some Pinon Colorado. I drank that plant and that cleaned me. What else do we do? Sangre de Grotto purgatives. I threw up a lot in Peru. I hope my throat's okay, because I did a lot of vomiting, and I didn't want to. Trust me, I didn't want to, but you drink medicine and it's coming out. You can't make it stop. It's gonna come out. And then ceremony's over. Hey, so in 4 hours, we're all gonna do a purgative. So don't drink anything. You gotta get up at 6 a.m. We're all gonna just vomit into buckets together. Sachamango. There was this thing called the evil mango, and it was a seed, and they would I can't remember how they prepared it, but they would put it down your nose, like it would be like a liquid, and then you would go, and they put it like down your nasal cavity, and it would go like down your throat into your lungs, and it would just like expel all this fluid and like mucus, and like everything would come out of your sinuses and your lungs. And I remember doing it, and I was like, I couldn't breathe because it was so intense. And I remember when I did it, or maybe this was the Pinon Colorado, like other people were like watching it happen, and I was like freaking out because it wouldn't come out of me, and I was like almost crying and just pounding water, and I was like, I literally was screaming, help me, help me. And like my friends were laughing because like they were like, the only thing we remember you saying is help me. And like, what are these people gonna do? They can't help you. Like, their help is like drink more water, and you're like, I literally drank like 5 liters of water, it's not coming out. And that's not even that bad. I've heard stories at that course where people, like, they would take Katawa, and Katawa, I don't even think I want to go there. Katawa is insane. It's like, it's a poison, and you can die if you don't vomit it up or get it out of your body. There's some of them that are so poisonous, but they'll clean you of parasites and like really deep infections, but you have to get it out. And they didn't give us Katawa, but back in the old days at the course, they gave them Katawa, and they would give them like other like really intense purgatives, and like, oh my god, the stories I heard were horrific. It was like people would take this stuff and they would be writhing in pain for like 6 hours. And I remember they were giving ginger drops for your eyes, and they were like, yeah, so this will help your eyes if you have astigmatism or you wear glasses. Like the ginger will clear the eyes. It'll clear it out. And I would watch people just put these ginger drops in their eyes and literally be like freaking out because they were in so much pain. And I remember watching other people do it. And I was like, no. Honestly, all the purgatives, I was like, no. I'm gonna suffer. It's gonna be really bad. And I would just watch them put this in their eyes, and they were like, ah. And I remember me and my friend Jacqueline, we were just like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to put that in my eyes. I'm like, I got 20/20 vision. I don't need to put this in my eyes. And we just sat back, and then I was like, so I asked my friend, I was like, hey, how did it go? Do you see better? And he was like, nope. It did nothing. He just suffered. I was like, yeah, that's why I didn't do it. The purgatives made sense. The purgatives, like, I knew that they would help. But the ginger drops, I was like, I got good eyesight. I don't need to clean my eyes. So it's 11:22 now. 11:22. So I'm gonna wrap this baby on up. And thanks for joining me. I don't know. I think this is the 5th episode. At some point, I would love to have like a real podcast. Like have my friend on here, like my spiritual friends, because they're super cool. At some point, I want my dad to be on here, because my dad is super spiritual and he's really cool and he's a musician, and we'll probably sing songs together, because my dad is just, oh man, he's so cool. He's into plants, he's into music, he's into spirituality. Like, my dad, such a cool man. So, on that note, thank you for joining me yet again. I'm gonna just keep doing these podcasts, and we're gonna just see how they go. And if they suck, you know what? Maybe I'll stop doing them in the future. But right now, I just think it would be cool to do podcasts and talk about some stuff maybe you're interested in. And that is all I have for today. I'm tired. I'm gonna go back to the emptiness and the stillness and just go back to where I came from. Thank you for joining me. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Om Namo Narayana. Did I miss someone? Oh, shout out to Lord Brahma too. Nobody shouts out to Lord Brahma. It's always Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, but like, why not Lord Brahma? I know he created the illusion, but I mean, he's part of the Trimurti. I don't know. I'll do some research. I'll get back to you guys on that. Anyways, good night. Sweet dreams. And namaste.